Hey y'all, time for a new video. I know it's been a break in between videos and I will get into all of those things in another video and explain my absence, but today we're going to talk about protein overload. I'm going to tell you what it is, how to avoid it, and what to do if you find yourself in a situation where you've got protein overload in your relaxed hair. So let's go ahead and get into the video. What is protein overload? Well, your hair needs a balance between moisture and protein to be at its healthiest, and that does not mean 50-50. Depending on your hair texture, your hair type, whether or not you're relaxed or natural, the porosity of your hair, all of those factors will determine how much or how little protein your hair needs. Protein overload happens obviously when you have more protein than moisture that your particular hair type needs. If you want to know what some signs of protein overload are, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description where you can go over and read an article that will give you a lot of good pointers to determining whether or not you have protein overload. But generally speaking, your hair will feel hard, dry, kind of crispy, like it feels when you over relax it or when you've bleached your hair and you've lifted it too high. You can prevent protein overload by basically paying attention to your hair, knowing your hair, watching how it behaves, making sure you're moisturizing, watching how your hair behaves after you moisturize, after you apply a protein treatment. All of those things will give you a good gauge on whether you need more protein or less protein in your hair routine. I recently experienced protein overload, which is what led me to create this video for you guys. I know my hair is protein sensitive, but still very foolishly, I put in a protein treatment, put on a plastic cap and sat under the dryer for 30 minutes, which was horrible for my hair. My hair was crispy, it was crunchy, it would not hold a curl, it started to break off, and anytime I tried to apply heat, it was just a disaster. When you apply a chemical, whether it be a relaxer, color, any of those types of processes to your hair, you do break down the protein bonds that are in your hair when your hair is not chemically treated. And so to counter that, you do a lot of times need to add protein. I usually will add a protein treatment, a very light protein treatment, keep it in for 3 to 5 minutes, rinse it out and keep it moving. This time with me leaving it on as long as I did, that is exactly what killed my hair. I know it was. It was just too much protein for my hair. What to do when you have protein overload? What I decided to do was to counter the protein with moisture. So I started a routine of moisturizing my hair with a moisturizing conditioner that I used like a deep conditioner. Now, there are many methods out there for countering protein overload. Some people use a salt method I've seen. Some people use like an ACV rinse. Some people use a stripping or a clarifying shampoo. Some people use a chelating shampoo. I'm not sure how any of those things work because for me, like I said, I just went the moisture route. What made sense to me was, okay, we have too much protein. What do? We want to counter that with moisture so that we can get the balance back in check. So this is what I did. I used my Kaye moisturizing conditioner and I used it frequently and I used it like a deep conditioner. So the first time I used it, I sat under the dryer with it in my hair. I put on a plastic cap and I sat for 30 minutes. I did that as a tester. When I came from under the dryer, I rinsed out the conditioner. I wrapped my hair as normal. When I came from under the dryer from wrapping my hair, I tested it. I felt it. I tried to curl it. I added the products I normally add to it, minus any products that I know to be protein heavy. I could tell my hair had improved, but I could also tell that it was still nowhere near where I needed it to be. So what I did was I went back in 2 days later. I washed my hair with the moisturizing shampoo. I applied the moisturizing conditioner by Kaye again. And that time I let it sit on my hair for an hour with the plastic cap, but not under the dryer because I didn't want to overdo it because you can also have too much moisture in your hair. So 2 days after that, I again went in, I washed it with the moisturizing shampoo, applied the moisturizing conditioner in my hair, left it in there for about 45 minutes, rinsed it, and at that point, after I wrapped it and came from under the dryer, I could tell significant changes had taken place in my hair, and I knew what I was doing was working. So then what I did on the weekend was, Friday I washed my hair, I put the deep conditioner in there, and I just let it sit. No, Saturday, I just let it stay in my hair for 3 hours, not under the dryer, because you know that opens up the hair to the core and it's a deeper penetration, so I didn't want to do that. But I put the plastic cap on, went about my day, put on a beanie, ran my errands, all of those kinds of things, and left it in for 3 to 3.5 hours. At that point, I rinsed it out and I did not style it. I just let it air dry. I did that because I knew the next day I wanted to co-wash. So instead of me continually shampooing it, which can be stripping, I didn't want to do that because the whole point was to add moisture. So I didn't want to continue to do something like shampooing it, which was depriving my strands of needed moisture. So the very next day, which was a Sunday, which is today that I'm actually filming this, I co-washed. I put the conditioner in after I co-washed. I put on a plastic cap and I left it in for 1 hour. No heat, did not sit under the dryer, and I put my beanie cap on about 10 minutes into it just to kind of trap some of that natural heat from my head. After that, rinsed it, wrapped it with my NAIROBI, styled it like you see it today, and it came out perfect. My hair is probably 95% back to being healthy and balanced. So when it comes to protein overload, first of all, you want to try to prevent it, obviously, if you can. If you find yourself in a situation where you're already experiencing it, test your hair out. If you try to add moisture and it's not working over the course of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you may want to try the chelating method. I've done that before, so I feel safe saying that, and I know that chelating shampoos break down the minerals and they kind of agitate the hair in a way that regular shampoos won't. They get all of those things out of your hair, and then you can go back in with the procedure of adding moisture, protein to get your hair back in balance. If you do that, of course you want to start with adding the moisture first after you use the chelating shampoo and conditioner. Another good tip is if you find your hair has too much protein, start eliminating one by one any products in your routine that are protein heavy. For me, I use sometimes the keratin mist. Obviously, I had to cut that out immediately. Keratin is the protein your hair is made up of. I did not want to add that. You also want to be careful with oils like coconut oil because they can have a lot of protein in them, or more protein than your hair may need if you're already in a state of overload. Another thing you want to do is moisturize daily. I use olive oil, that's what my hair likes. A lot of times I also use jojoba oil. Whatever you choose as a daily moisturizer, just make sure it does not have too much protein, if any at all. And for me, for instance, I moisturize my hair every night before I wrap it, and some mornings. While I was going through this process, however, I moisturize my hair every single night and every single morning. And I think that, in conjunction with the deep moisturizing conditioning treatments I was doing, is what helped get my hair back to a healthy state so quickly. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave some helpful links down below to some of the things that I discussed. I'll leave a link to chelating shampoos, what they're all about, and so you can kind of check that out and learn a little more about it. I'll also leave a link to someone who used the salt method when they had too much protein in their hair. Use that at your own discretion. And any other helpful videos or links that I think you guys might find useful, I'll leave them down below. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them. I will answer your questions. I'll respond to your comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, supporting, and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already but you like my content, please go ahead and subscribe before you leave. And until next time, guys, bye.